Morning guys. So just recording a video for you for the Easter bank holiday Monday, just so you've got an hour's yoga practice to practice at your sort of leisure this weekend. I hope everyone has something lovely planned. We will get started. Just making sure if you need any bricks, you've got some bricks and a blanket for your Shavasana. If you don't have any bricks at home, you could use some big sort of chunky books or maybe some cushions or pillows. So we will get started by lying down on our backs. So just come to lie on your mat. We will have our legs out nice and long, just bringing the hands next to the body. And closing through the eyes if that feels comfortable. So just allowing the whole of your body to arrive on the mat. And settling in. And really just dropping into the body. So meeting yourself wherever you are this morning or in this moment, with no judgment, just allowing whatever you have come to the mat with to just be. I'd like you to bring each body part into the mind and do a mental body scan, starting at the feet and working your way up towards the top of the head, just checking in with each body part. And then checking in with how you are feeling today. And then everybody comes to yoga for their own personal reason. Whatever it might be, I'd like you to make an intention for the next hour. It can be anything from moving the body to feeling calmer, to not judging yourself as you move in and out of the shapes. So just set yourself an intention, just repeat this a couple of times in the mind. And try to move with this intention as we continue through the class. I'd like you to bring your hands onto the lower belly. And notice the breath moving in and out of the body. And can you deepen the breath here? And the slowing down of the breath is really what is going to help our body to relax and to rest. And when we feel stressed, one of the first things to happen is our breath quickens. And that's the fight or flight response of the body kicking in. So intentionally lengthening your inhalations and your exhalations is really going to help the body to soften, to slow down, and ultimately, hopefully, to feel calmer. Taking a couple more deep breaths here. Releasing the hands. We're going to bend the knees, bringing the feet flat onto the mat. So maybe just rearranging the hips. Would like you to feel the whole of the back pressed in towards the mat, so feeling grounded through the back body, feeling grounded through the feet. And find a position for the feet so that there's no pressure on the knees, there's no pressure on the hips. And spreading the fingers really wide, pressing them in towards the mat. I'd like you to bring your awareness in towards the feet, really pressing deeper into the mat, and then allowing the hips and the thighs to lift gently away from the mat. Feeling the chest lifting up towards the chin. Again, maybe you need to rearrange the feet or the knees, making sure there's no pressure there. And breathing deeply, so as we inhale, the belly wants to be round, full of all that lovely breath. One more deep breath here. And then lowering the hips, coming all the way down. And let's extend the legs out so they are straight. And then we're slowly going to lift the arms up and over, bringing the backs of the hands onto the floor behind us. And then just softening through the shoulders here, trying not to lift them up towards the ears. Let's soften. You might want to widen the arms out just to give a little bit more space here. We're just feeling the whole of the body on the mat. We're taking up lots of space, reaching through the fingertips, through the toes. You might want to wiggle slightly from side to side. Breathe in deeply. tucking the knees in towards the chest. I'd like you to take hold of the shins, give yourself a bit of a hug, and then maybe rocking gently from side to side, just massaging out the lower back. And then coming over onto one side. And then taking your time, coming up to a nice, comfortable seated position when you are ready. So that might be with the legs crossed. It might be with the legs out in front of you. Just however feels comfortable for you today. And then bringing the hands onto the knees or onto the thighs if your legs are out long. And then closing through the eyes. So wherever we are, feeling grounded through the sit bones, you might want to move the fleshy bits away from the sit bones just to allow the pelvis not to sink back. We want to sit nice and tall. Feeling lifted through the spine and the crown of the head. And the hands on the legs are just going to help us to feel connected to our body. Taking a couple of breaths here. You can open the eyes or keep them closed, whichever feels most comfortable for you today. Let's tuck the chin in towards the chest. And doing some subtle, soft movements to start with. I imagine everyone is relaxing this weekend, so we're going to go nice and slow, nice and mindful. And then lifting the head up, let's bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. Releasing the neck here. And then bringing it back to center, dropping the left ear towards the left shoulder. And then coming back to center, let's lift the shoulders up towards the ears. And then drop them all the way down. So I know I keep loads of tension here in the shoulders, so this is really nice just to release them. Let's do that a couple of times. Really releasing any tension, lifting once more. And then letting them drop all the way down the back of the body. Let's give them a bit of a shake, a bit of a wiggle. Bringing the hands next to the body. We're going to start by walking the right fingertips away and just finding that point where you feel like you can't go any further, and then dropping the hand. The left hand is going to come up slowly, so bringing the hand to the head and then stretching all the way up and over. Bicep is next to the ear. So we're feeling the left side of the body opening up. Maybe softening through that right arm, the right shoulder. And then coming all the way up, bringing that left hand down. We're going to twist towards the right. So left hand is coming in front of the feet. We're twisting towards the right side. Gaze is towards the right shoulder. And not moving too much here, so we're feeling strain through the spine or through the belly. And if that's the case, just ease back slightly. And we're not wanting to cause any pain or discomfort. We want to find that nice steady, comfortable posture, a steady breath. And then coming back to center, bringing the hands to either side again. And we're going to walk the left hand away from the body this time. Again, stopping when you feel like you can't go any further. Bringing that hand to meet the mat. The right arm is coming up gently towards the head at first. And then up and over so the bicep is next to the ear. Opening up through the right side of the body this time. Maybe softening through that left arm. Breathing deeply. And then lifting all the way back up. We're going to twist towards the left. So right hand is coming in front of the feet. We're moving the torso, the gaze towards the left. We want to soften through that left shoulder rather than hoiking it up towards the ear. So really feeling soft through the body. Keeping that focus on the breath. And then coming back to center. Let's lift the arms all the way up, reaching up through the fingertips. Feeling the sides of the body lifting. Bringing the gaze up towards the hands. And then let's sweep the arms so that they're in a T shape. Reaching through the fingertips. Bringing the hands behind us, hands are on the lower back. And we're drawing the elbows and the shoulder blades together. Breathing deeply, being gentle with yourself. Not forcing anything, not straining the body. Releasing the hands, we're going to bring them all the way around, taking hold of each shoulder with the opposite hand, tucking the chin towards the chest and just give ourselves a bit of a hug here. Releasing both hands. We're going to come forward onto all fours. So we're on all fours in our tabletop position. Hands are spread nice and wide, really starfishing through the fingers. You want to make sure the hands are flat. Knees are there or thereabouts underneath the hips, but obviously amending, modifying that position if that doesn't feel quite correct for you. And pressing into the tops of the feet. We want to keep the gaze between the hands so that the spine is nice and long. We can see the difference here if you just bring the head forwards and then drop it all the way down. You can feel that difference on the spine. So just bringing the gaze between the hands, feeling that length. Taking a couple of the breath here. Grounding themselves through the feet, through the hands. We're going to move through our cat-cows here. So dropping the belly, opening up through the chest, looking forward. Really moving in your own time and your own breath. And just noticing how the spine is feeling here. Are we moving too much? Are we flexing the spine too much? And if so, just easing back slightly. Really breathing deeply. listening to the body. I'm going to take just one more round, dropping the belly, looking forward with the chest, the chin, and then looking towards the thighs, lifting up between the shoulder blades, and then coming back to our neutral position. We're going to bring the gaze towards the right hip, so bringing the gaze towards the right hip, the right feet. We're just feeling that very subtle movement in the sides of the body. And then over to the left side. Again, feeling that subtle movement. Coming back to center. Let's widen the knees out. Push ourselves back into our Balasana. So forehead towards the mat. Or if you want to pop your bricks underneath your forehead, you can do. Just give nice little bit of lift in the back of the body. Really coming back to the breath here. And checking back in with that intention that we set at the beginning of class. Are you moving towards this intention? One more deep breath here. And then walking the hands up towards the body, lifting the torso. We're bringing the knees together. So into our Virasana pose, which is hero pose. You might want to pop a brick between the feet and sit back. You might want to pop 2 bricks between the feet, or a blanket just under the knees, just to give a little bit of padding there, especially if you're on a hard floor. Hands are just on the thighs. Taking a moment here, this is really warming up the thighs. Again, softening through the shoulders. And notice the difference. Lift them up and then drop them back down. Notice the change in the sensations in the body. Taking a deep breath. I'm going to open up through the eyes, and the hands are just coming next to the body. We're going to lift the arms all the way up, taking the gaze up between the hands, really reaching through the fingertips. And then slowly lifting ourselves up onto our knees, maybe widening the knees out slightly. And the pelvis is moving forwards towards the front of the room, and we are coming into a slight back bend. slight Urdhva Hastasana. And then traveling forwards, bringing the hands onto the mat, we are going to bring the pelvis forward and come into our upward dog. So you can be here with the thighs and the knees on the floor, or if you want to, you can lift the thighs and the knees up, whichever feels more comfortable for you. The gaze is just off the mat. Pushing back into our Balasana very briefly, and then sweeping the arms up and over, lifting them all the way up back into our Urdhva Hastasana. So bringing the pelvis forward, gaze up between the hands, and then traveling forward with the hands, with the pelvis into our upward dog. Bringing the gaze slightly off the mat, and then pushing back into our Balasana. Let's do that one more time. Bringing the arms back towards the body and then sweeping them all the way up. Pushing that pelvis forward, gaze between the hands, and just noticing the arch in the spine. Let's bring the hands forward, moving the hips and the pelvis forward for our upward dog. And then traveling back to our Balasana. This time we're going to tuck the toes. Hands are starfished on the mat, and we're bringing the bum back towards the heels. The head is dropping so that the biceps and ears are in line. We're very gently, when we're feeling grounded here, going to hover the knees off the mat. And then slowly lift the hips up and back into our downward dog. So breathing deeply here. And just noticing how the body's feeling. Do you need to modify anywhere? Do you need to widen the feet? Or widen the hands? Maybe bend the knees slightly so that we're not overextending the knees. Really just being mindful of each body part. Maybe pedaling one knee out at a time. And this can be really nice, especially if we've not moved yet today. Maybe swaying the hips from side to side. Just doing whatever feels good here. Breathe in deeply. And then we're going to take some baby steps, walking to the top of the mat, coming into our Uttanasana, forward fold. So bending through the knees as generously as you like, dropping the head and the chest. You might want to take hold of opposite forearms and sway just from side to side softly in a ragdoll. Really releasing the body and just allowing the whole body to feel soft. Let's release the hands and tuck the chin towards the chest. Slowly curling ourselves all the way up, bringing ourselves up towards our mountain pose, Tadasana. So feet are hip distance apart, feeling strong and active through the legs. The spine is long. I'm feeling really tall through the crown of the head. And just closing softly through the eyes here. And coming back to the breath. Coming back to that intention that we set at the beginning of class. And how can we move towards that? And just feeling the whole body settling here. And then gently opening up through the eyes. Let's bring the hands onto the hips. We're going to take a big step back with the right foot. And then pivoting to face the long edge of the mat. So we want to make sure that we have a fairly wide stance, but not so much that we are creating this arch in the lower back. We don't want to feel like we've got this banana back. So if that's the case, just shortening the stance slightly so we're feeling nice and grounded. We're not over arching the back at all. We're just feeling nice and soft. And really pressing in towards the feet, grounding through the body, lifting up through the crown of the head. And I like to move into postures quite softly, quite gently, so that we're really being aware of where we are with each body part. So keeping the hands on the hips, feeling grounded through the feet. I'm going to turn the right toes out. And then again, noticing where the feet are. Can we bend into that front knee? Feeling nice and balanced over both feet. So we've got equal footing. And then when we're ready, we're going to lift the arms into our T shape. Bringing the gaze to the middle finger on the right hand for our Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. And settling here, softening through those shoulders. Just noticing whether you need to adapt or move. And using your breath as your anchor to help keep you steady. Taking one more deep breath. Let's lift through that front knee, straightening the leg. Maybe bringing the left foot in slightly, just to shorten our stance. And we're going to move into our Trikonasana. So reaching over the front leg. Stopping when you feel like you can't go any further. And then dropping the right hand onto the leg wherever it falls naturally. And the left arm can either be lifting up towards the sky, or you can bring the hand onto the lower back. So our Trikonasana is a lovely chest opener. So getting that feeling of really opening up through the left side of the body. And we can keep the gaze at the right foot. Or if you want to, and you can lift the gaze up towards the top hand, or even just up towards the sky if your hand is on the lower back. Just checking in with the body, noticing how you're feeling. And then dropping the gaze to the bottom foot. We're going to lift ourselves all the way back up, turning the right toes in. And then we're going to come onto the opposite side, so hands onto the hips. So we're connecting with the body. Left toes out. And again, finding that grounding through both feet. Are you feeling stable? Are you feeling comfortable? And then when you're ready, bending into that front knee. And then lifting out the arms for our warrior two. Virabhadrasana 2 on the left. And we're going to feel different on both sides. So just meeting yourself wherever you are with no judgment. Just accepting how you're feeling and making those adjustments to reflect that. Using the breath just to help feel steady. Taking one more deep breath. Lifting through that front knee. Again, just shortening the stance slightly with the back foot. And then we're going to reach over the front leg as much as feels comfortable. And then drop ourselves down into our Trikonasana. So using the same variations here. Top hand can come onto the lower back. Gaze can start at the foot. You can lift the gaze. Just noticing how you're feeling. So I have a really tight right shoulder, so having my hand on my lower back feels much nicer than having my arm lifted. So making your variations and then settling in, accepting where we are. And let's take one more deep breath. And then slowly lift ourselves all the way up. Turning the toes in so we are facing forwards. We're going to grab our bricks or cushions, books, whatever it is that you've got, and just place them just on the floor in front of the face. I'm going to come forward into a wide-legged forward fold. So making sure that the feet are pointing forward. Again, we've got a nice wide stance, but not too wide, so we're not bending out that lower back. And we're lifting up through the crown of the head. Feeling strong through the legs. And then let's bring the hands onto the hips. And just take a deep breath here. And we're slowly going to move forward, hinging at the hips. Coming forward into a wide-legged forward fold. I'd like you to stop when you get to halfway. Just checking in here, making sure we've got a nice micro bend in the knee so we're not overextending. And then if you have your bricks or your cushions, your props, we're going to take the hands and just lean them on the top. And lift ourselves out. So here, just stopping here for a couple of breaths. And then if we want to, we can lower ourselves further down. So we can lower the bricks if we have bricks. Bringing the hands so they're just a little bit further towards the floor. Or if you want to bring the hands to the floor, you can do that too. So we're feeling soft through the torso and through the head, just letting ourselves feel loose. The gaze is between the legs. Feeling nice and settled here. And then maybe bringing the hands between the feet, but again, only if this feels good for your body. And it might not, so if that's the case, we can leave the hands out in front. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then everyone meeting ourselves back out with the hands in front of the face. Can lift our bricks up if we dropped them, just coming up so we're lifted slightly. If your hands are on the floor, maybe making a nice big pyramids with the fingers so we've got a bit of a lift. Just taking a breath here. And then slowly bringing one hand to one hip, one hand to the other hip, and slowly, really gently, coming all the way up to our standing position. And then let's step towards the top of the mat. We're going to drop the chin towards the chest and slowly roll ourselves all the way down, letting the arms hang, hinging at the hips, bending the knees, coming forward into our Uttanasana. And then hands are planted next to the feet. We're going to step back into our downward dog. So last one before we come down onto the mat. Maybe bending those knees. Taking a deep breath. And then let's all lower the knees. We're going to spin ourselves around so that our legs are out long in front of us. So let's flex the feet towards the face, moving any fleshy bits away from the sit bones. You might want to bring your brick or your cushion just under the knees, just for a bit of support there. Lifting up through the crown of the head. Just opening up through the chest here, we're breathing nice and deeply. And then slowly lifting the arms, so lifting them up to shoulder height to start with. And then gently lifting them all the way up. Reaching the fingertips up towards the sky. And then hinging at the hips, folding forward and just letting the hands drop wherever feels comfortable. So not feeling like we need to get the torso onto the legs. As always, just meeting ourselves wherever we are today. And some days it will be so much different to what we might feel on other days, and that's okay. You might want to lift up through the chest here. You might also want to fold yourself forward and drop the chin, the head, and just moving in whichever way feels best for you. And slowly lifting all the way back up to a seated position. We're going to bring the feet onto the mat, knees bent, moving any props away, and then bringing the soles of the feet together. So really pressing the soles in. You can use bricks here as well, just underneath the thighs or underneath the knees, just for that support as always. It'll just help us to feel a little bit more steady and comfortable, which is what we're aiming for in every posture. Breathing deeply here. This is our Baddha Konasana. Maybe closing through the eyes, just feeling the body starting to settle. You might want to walk the hands forwards here. You might just want to stay seated without folding forwards, whatever it is. Just listening to the body. One more deep breath. And then taking hold of the knees, we're going to lift them in together and slowly come down onto the mat. If you want to just get hold of your layers, so your jumpers, socks, blankets, whatever it is, just getting hold of them now. We're going to do a belly twist and then we're going to come into our Shavasana. So coming down onto the mat, I'd like you to keep the knees bent, the feet flat. Just getting the whole body to feel grounded. And then let's lift the knees in towards the chest. We're going to take the arms out either into your cactus pose or into your T shape with the arms. And then dropping the knees over towards the left and taking the gaze towards the right. And maybe closing through the eyes. And then lifting the knees back to center, bringing the gaze to center. We're going to drop them over towards the right this time and take the gaze towards the left. Just letting the whole body soften into the twist. Breathing deeply. And then coming back to center. Let's take hold of the shins. Just give ourselves a big hug. You might want to rock just gently from side to side. Or bring the forehead up towards the knees. And then coming down into our Shavasana. So legs are as wide as the mat, just like the feet flapping out. Hands are palm up towards the ceiling, just like the fingers curling. We're settling here. Or another really nice way to do Shavasana is having the feet as wide as the mat, bending the knees, and then just letting them drop in towards each other. And again, palms facing up towards the ceiling. And that can be really nice if you feel pinching in the lower back when you're lying down. So just finding your Shavasana, maybe getting a blanket because our temperature drops really quickly when we're lying down, even when it's quite warm. Just making sure we're feeling nice and comfortable and supported. And letting go of your physical practice now. And letting go of any breath awareness. Just allowing the whole body to feel soft and heavy and supported by the mat. Softening through the eyebrow center and the forehead. Softening through the jaw and letting the tongue just fall away from the roof of the mouth. And softening the shoulders away from the ears. And softening through the belly area. Allowing the whole body to feel soft and heavy on the mat. And just giving yourself permission to be here in this moment, to surrender to whatever might come up. And bringing your awareness to the right side of the body. And the whole of the right side of the body. And bringing your awareness to the left side of the body. And the whole of the left side of the body. And bringing your awareness to the whole of the body on the mat. And feeling lighter and lighter through the body, as if it's hovering over the mat. And starting to visualize your mat and your body on the mat. You're visualizing the space around you. And connecting with the time of the day and the day of the week. And gently starting to bring a little bit of movement back into the body. So wiggling toes, wiggling fingers. And then bringing both hands onto the lower belly. And just noticing the breath moving in and out of the body softly. And coming back to that intention that you set at the beginning of class. Just repeating it in your mind. And taking this off the mat into your life. And taking the rest of your practice and anything that might have come up into your day-to-day. I'd like you to slowly roll over onto one side. And gently coming up to a comfortable seated position. Just taking your time. And keeping the eyes closed, I'd like you to bring the hands to heart center. And then just taking a bow just to yourself, thanking you for nourishing your body, your energy, your mind. And then thank you from me as always. I hope you have a really lovely weekend, and I will see you next week.